In a world that is becoming more volatile with each passing day, countries are increasingly relying on alliances to ensure their security and stability. In recent times, Finland stands out as one of the most prominent examples of this trend. Today, our topic of discussion will revolve around three interconnected themes. First is Finland's recent decision to join NATO. Second is the concept of Finlandization. And the third is the significance of Paasikivi's doctrine. This is a hot topic since Finland's move represents a significant shift in its foreign policy and has major implications for global security.
Why is this a shift in Finland's foreign policy? See, for a considerable period, Finland adhered to a policy of military neutrality, refraining from aligning itself with major military alliances or powers. However, a pivotal event altered this stance. This event was the invasion of Ukraine by Russia in 2014, accompanied by the annexation of Crimea. Finland was apprehensive that its neutrality policy might not guarantee its safety in an increasingly unstable geopolitical climate. Consequently, Finland decided to forge closer ties with NATO. It has been a close partner to the alliance since then and has been recognized as a NATO Enhanced Opportunity Partner along with Sweden.
Fast forward to 2022. In response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022, Finland applied for NATO membership in May 2022 and officially joined NATO on April 4, 2023. Basically, it decided to seek the safety and protection provided by NATO's Article 5. This article states that an attack on any NATO member is considered an attack on all member states and will be met with a collective defense response from all members. This means that if Finland were to face an invasion or attack, all NATO members would come to its aid.
NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, is an alliance that was established in 1949 with the goal of promoting collective security and mutual defense among its members. The alliance originally consisted of 12 founding members, which are listed here. Over time, 19 additional countries joined the alliance. Here is a timeline of NATO expansion. NATO's expansion has heightened tensions between the alliance and Russia. Russia sees NATO's expansion as a direct threat to its national security interests. NATO continues to maintain that its expansion is necessary to promote peace and stability in Europe and to provide a collective defense against potential threats. Finland's decision to join NATO is significant, not just for Finland, but for international security as a whole. Finland's geopolitical position is delicate as it shares a lengthy 1,300 km border with Russia and relies heavily on the sea lanes of the Baltic Sea for majority of its critical supplies. With Finland's inclusion, NATO now has 31 member countries and 7 members on the Baltic Sea.
If you look at northeastern Europe along the eastern shores of the Baltic Sea, you would see 3 countries in the Baltic region: Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Throughout history, this region has been influenced by various empires, including the Swedish, German, and Russian empires. The region was also occupied by the Soviet Union during World War II and remained under Soviet control until the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. The Baltic states have also become an important economic and political region in Europe. Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are members of the European Union and NATO, and they have developed strong ties with other countries in the region. Now, Finland's decision to join NATO is a major strategic shift, as it gives NATO a much stronger presence in Northern Europe. It more than doubles NATO's border with Russia and enhances NATO's ability to position weapons closer to Russia, thereby restricting Russia's access to the Baltic Sea even more and threatening the security of Russia's coastal city of St. Petersburg and its exclave of Kaliningrad.
Due to this, Russia will be compelled to implement tactical and strategic countermeasures to safeguard its security. And this could lead to increased tension and even conflict in the region. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has sparked a reassessment of security dynamics in the region, prompting a fundamental reconsideration of how nations approach and prioritize their security concerns. This significant event has triggered a process of reflection and re-evaluation, compelling countries to analyze and adapt their approaches to regional and international security in light of the changing geopolitical landscape.
When we think of Finland, we often imagine picturesque landscapes, vibrant cities, and a peaceful way of life. But what many of us don't realize is that Finland's strategic location has made it a hot spot for military campaigns throughout history. To understand why Russia is so concerned about Finland, we have to take a look at the region's history. In the past, Sweden and Nazi Germany used Finland as a way to invade the Soviet Union during wars. These historical events have left a lasting impact on Russia's psyche. Russia wants to create a protective buffer zone along its western border to safeguard itself against potential future invasions. This is why Finland's recent decision to join NATO has caused concern in Russia, as it sees this move as a threat to its national security.
Finland's historical experiences, such as its struggle for independence, the loss of territory to the Soviet Union, and the Second Soviet-Finnish War, significantly shaped its collective consciousness and had a profound impact on its security policy. As a result, Finland adopted a pragmatic approach that aimed to balance its autonomy with the necessity of cooperation with Western nations while avoiding actions that could be perceived as a threat to the Soviet Union's security. To enhance trade with the Soviet Union, Finland made concessions, including the signing of the Finno-Soviet Treaty of 1948. This treaty marked a pivotal moment in the Finland's security policy, as it committed the country to neutrality and refraining from allowing foreign troops on its soil without Soviet approval. While the treaty ensured Finland's security, it also made the country highly dependent on the Soviet Union, leaving it vulnerable to economic and political pressures.
Finland's approach to security was characterized by a neutral stance in conflicts involving major powers. Unlike many European countries, Finland chose not to participate in the US-sponsored Marshall Plan, which aimed to rebuild European economies and promote democratic institutions after World War II. By remaining independent and neutral, Finland successfully pursued its democratic and capitalist trajectory, avoiding entanglements in conflicts between major powers. This position allowed Finland to steer clear of military alliances and resist Soviet pressure to align with the Warsaw Pact. This foreign policy strategy is known as the Paasikivi Line. It was named after former Finnish President Juho Kusti Paasikivi, and it played a crucial role in shaping Finland's security policy. The Paasikivi Line aimed to promote peaceful coexistence and uphold neutrality as its central principle, aiming to prevent further conflicts between Finland and the Soviet Union and ensuring stability in the region. It emphasized refraining from joining hostile military alliances, avoiding activities seen as hostile towards the Soviet Union, and cultivating friendly relations with the Soviet Union. Additionally, Finland pursued partnerships with Western nations through initiatives like the Partnership for Peace program, which facilitated cooperation on security-related issues. Finland's membership in the European Union starting in 1995 provided economic growth opportunities and allowed participation in European decision-making while maintaining political independence.
In the tumultuous era of the Cold War, Finland found itself in a challenging position, caught between two superpowers, the Soviet Union to the east and the Western countries aligned with NATO to the west. Finland's strategic location and proximity to the Soviet Union made it a delicate balancing act for the country. To navigate this complex geopolitical landscape, Finland developed a concept known as Finlandization. Finlandization referred to Finland's unique approach to avoiding conflicts with its powerful neighbor, the Soviet Union. It involved voluntary limitations on Finland's foreign policy and national sovereignty in exchange for avoiding potential conflicts with the more dominant Soviet Union. At the core of Finlandization was the Paasikivi Line. We saw that the Paasikivi Line emphasized diplomacy and compromise as the key tools for Finland to navigate its relationship with the Soviet Union. In line with it, Finland pursued a policy of neutrality, carefully balancing between the West and the Soviet Union. This policy allowed Finland to avoid direct military confrontations, but it also required making compromises and concessions to maintain a fragile peace.
While Finlandization refers to Finland's relationship with the Soviet Union during the Cold War, the term has been used more broadly in discussions concerning other countries. For example, before Russia's invasion of Ukraine, there were debates about whether Ukraine should adopt a Finlandization-like approach to mitigate tensions with its powerful neighbor. By the way, it is important to distinguish between Finlandization and the Paasikivi Line. While both terms are related to Finland's foreign policy, they have different connotations and implications. Finlandization carries a more negative connotation, suggesting that Finland was a satellite state, heavily influenced by the Soviet Union. It implies a loss of sovereignty and excessive influence by the dominant power. Finlandization describes a country that is willing to make compromises and concessions to avoid conflicts with a more powerful neighbor, often at the expense of its own autonomy and interests. On the other hand, the Paasikivi Line refers to the pragmatic foreign policy doctrine aimed to promote peaceful coexistence, uphold neutrality, and safeguard Finland's independence and democratic values. The Paasikivi Line sought to strike a balance between Finland's autonomy and its relationship with the Soviet Union. It emphasized diplomacy, compromise, and the preservation of Finland's own identity and principles.
Earlier, Finland's security policy had a pragmatic and balanced approach, which helped it in navigating its relationship with Russia and maintaining neutrality while seeking cooperation with Western nations. But Finland's integration into NATO marks a shift from this stance. This move undoubtedly strengthens the transatlantic bonds between North America and Europe, and it deepens the cooperation and coordination between Finland and other NATO members, particularly in matters of defense, intelligence sharing, and joint military exercises. But at the same time, it would strain bilateral ties between Finland and Russia due to Russia's historical sensitivity towards NATO's expansion in its vicinity. This may lead to increased tensions or a reassessment of diplomatic and economic relations between Finland and Russia. Also, it can influence regional security dynamics in Northern Europe. It may encourage other countries in the region to reassess their security postures and consider closer ties with NATO or seek stronger bilateral security cooperation with Finland.
Finland and Russia have had a long-standing relationship with significant economic, cultural, and historical ties. Finland has been one of Russia's major trading partners. Finland's recent decision to join NATO is likely to have a significant impact on this relationship. Finland joining the alliance will strengthen NATO, as Finland will play a major role in protecting what is now NATO's longest land border with Russia. NATO is a military alliance, and Russia sees NATO's expansion as a security threat. So this development will undoubtedly strain the relationship between Finland and Russia. Also, it could lead to a broader shift in the regional balance of power and security alignments. We hope you found this lecture informative. Thank you for your time.